Okay. There's a few other galaxies around 3 o'clock. There's a pile of galaxies around 3 o'clock. Let me see if I can figure what they are. Oh yeah, let me. They say there's a galaxy. No, there's so many galaxies in this field. It's trying to pick out which ones are which. Top right corner, MCG 5514. It's a magnitude 12.6, 4.7 minutes by 0.9 minutes. And if you look towards the between 3 and 4 o'clock position near the right edge, there's a ton of galaxies. Uh, Let me see if I can get some designations on them. In fact, I'm bringing the DSS image in, and it's rotated 90 degrees, but all of these galaxies, Lita's magnitude 16. It's an MCG magnitude 14. But you can see all of these little blue dots or ellipses or galaxies. Okay, Jeff. And there's tons of galaxies in this field of view. I have used let's see, a 10-meter active, then a powered hub, and then a 5 meter. So I've gone about 55, 60 feet. This is really cleaning up nicely. If you come over and zoom here and look at over here, there's galaxies galore. But that is a very impressive bunch of galaxies. Let's see, that's in triangular. What else?
Telescopes flew into target.
Going to NGC 100.
Telescope slew complete.
Okay, let me clear this. Oh, this is what we're going for, NGC 100. Wait till the next refresh. Let me do a new white balance. Okay. Come on. Let's see. There it is. Right in the center. Let me do some average stacking. I was telling John I've gone about 55 feet or so with a 10-meter cable, a powered hub, and then another 5-meter cable. Let me push the black up a little. There was something. Yeah, in the past I had been using the powered hub at the computer itself, but one of my customers said he tried putting the powered hub at the end of a 10-meter cable, and then he ran the 5-meter cable that comes with the camera out of the hub to the camera, and everything worked fine. I'm thinking that little fuzz at the bottom is going to be magnitude 15.6. I think that's it, right down there. Because on Sky Tools it shows it as an edge on, and here it's 51 seconds by 18 seconds, so it is edge on. Night Ski, and I guess we'll figure out of those two who plays the Saints, huh? I wonder if I could finish my Astronomical League award tonight all in one setting. Just NGC 100. I have to read and see how many of these you need. I know I've done a few of the Astronomical League clubs using cameras, and I got awards based on photography as opposed to eyepieces. That's how I did the ARPs. I did my ARP award using Malin cams. Yeah, it did clean up nicely. I still got to plot the videos from last night. See, this is over in Pisces. Let's see what this other one looks like.
Telescope slew into target.
Shouldn't be going too far.
Telescope slew complete.
Yeah. It should be in there. I stopped the stack. I'm going to, what was this? Is MCG 2211. Nearly edge on, and there should be a few other galaxies visible with it. Okay, it's coming up. Yeah, it is it's magnitude 14. A little bit of color in its core. Binning 2. I will always use digital binning 2 with this camera. I normally don't use exposures this long, but because of, oh, I do have a filter in, that Orion Deep Sky Astrophotography filter. Maybe I should clear it before I Okay, now let me start. It shows one galaxy above it, which is magnitude 15.8. That's the one that's magnitude 15.8. Hi, Simon. And we're looking at flat galaxies, according to the Astronomical League. Flat galaxies. And this is the one we're looking at here. It's MCG 2211. Magnitude 14 with a magnitude 15.7 companion. Yes, I'm using the Orion Sky Glow astrophotography filter. And it screws directly onto the T to 2-inch adapter. Let me zoom in a little bit and let's see, Jeff. No spacer. You can see, even without the spacer, just the focal reducer, I'm getting some vignetting. Yeah, the filter is, the focal reducer is screwed directly on the camera. And then the T to 2-inch adapter is screwed onto the focal reducer, and then the filter is on the end of the 2-inch adapter. Yeah, I don't see any spiral arm, Jeff. Let's see, what's next on the list? There was another one I was looking at, Pisces. Where is it? A little bit bigger. Maybe a, okay, Pisces. We looked at that one already. Okay. Oh, okay. No, wrong constellation. Let's go for this one.
Telescope slew into target.
Oh, it's going further south, maybe. Let's see.
Telescope slew complete.
I'm going to MCG 15913. It is 3.1 by 0.4. Okay, I'm getting low in the light pollution. Okay, let's see what happens. Let me do another white balance. Because I'm only 33 degrees up in the southwest. Okay, I think the galaxy's there. And there's another companion below it. Boy, what am I looking at over there? What the light from the monitor is getting in there. See that, and the light from the car wash at the corner. Boy, something's not looking good. Where's my histogram? I'm using, I don't know what do you mean by software version 4? I'm using SkyTools. Oh no, I'm using SkyTools 3. I found no need to go with the imaging version, SkyTools 4 imaging. Greg's going to be coming out with a SkyTools 4 for visual soon, and I'll be beta testing that one for him. I beta tested this version, for imaging, and I told Greg, I said, really, it's too much. I don't need the functions that it has, so I gave up on it. I got to get higher in the sky and get away from the light. Oh, that's small, small, small. That's below the horizon. Oh, well, let me go to the east. Let me go back to the Messiers and go to the east. Rusty was doing the crab before. I haven't done that in a while. Let's see. Slew to.
Telescope slew into target. Telescope slew complete.
And I don't think I'm going to need 45 seconds for the crab, so let me stop the exposure for now. Rosette's up. Of course, I have a much smaller field of view than I had. Let me try 10 seconds for the crab initially. How about adjusting the histogram? Let's see which way it moves relative to. It went the right way. Move over here and do a sync. Yeah. Okay, I'm pretty well centered on the crab now. Sync.
Telescope synced.
So I'm now synced on the crab. And let's go to longer exposure. Probably around f4.2, I think, is what I had calculated the last time. Let me do a white balance. Yep, I agree. Oh, man. It's only 55 degrees, but boy, it feels colder than that. I was standing up outside working, doing some woodworking outside today. My legs are shot. Hi, Bob. Yeah, I decided to go with a bigger scope tonight. The little 61 was nice, but I wanted something a little bit more aperture. Simon, everything is relative. It all depends on where you've grown up. I had somebody was observing down in Florida on the beach, and they said it was 60 degrees and breezy, and they were cold. Standing on a sandy beach in the Gulf of Mexico. Let me see. I'm going to try throwing in some sharpness on this because I have the sharpness at 0. I'll go to sharpness 50 and see what happens. Hey, Jeff, it is looking good. At 59 degrees, the snow won't last long unless you have a lot of snow. Then it takes a while to melt. So I'm using higher gain than I normally do. 10 inches would be about a 2-decade accumulation in Louisiana. It's actually looking pretty good, Simon. Yeah, I do have the Orion Skyglow astrophotography filter in. I'm going to try pushing the sharpness up a little higher. I'm going to go to 100. I've never seen the filaments this good before. Yeah, the winds were pretty severe yesterday, but it died down last night, and it was pretty calm all day today when I was working outside. Richard, welcome aboard. See, how many are in the stack? I've been averaging 5. So I should be averaging in more of the 100% sharpness, and the 50 should be averaging out. I'm using the Malincam VRC10 Ritchie Creation 10-inch. I'm using a universe focal reducer without a spacer. And I'm using the DS10C TEC cooled camera. I'm probably running that f8 scope at about f4.2. And right now I'm at a 20-second exposure. Gain is 80 out of 160, so it's about 50% gain. And I'm average stacking 5 exposures. And that's the full frame, but you'll notice there's some clipping in the corner, yeah, I have the cooler running at cooler is on and it's set for 0 degrees centigrade. I mean, you zoom in to 400, it blows up. Between 100 and 150 is probably the best image. And your full frame is around 55-60% zoom. I don't know if pushing the sharpness up any higher will help or hurt the image. Go to 150. So it's going to take, what, 100 seconds for the 5 images at 150% sharpness to factor in. It's cool. I'm seeing you see like little curves in the filaments. Yeah, it is pretty nice. One thing I forgot to do tonight was to set it up to automatically capture some images. I'm impressed with this tonight. Yeah, well, as it's factoring out the lower sharpness images and factoring in the higher sharpness images. And this object is what, less than 1,000 years old, right? 1054 is when the star went supernova. Yes, Crab Nebula. Okay, let's see. Let's see if we can really mess it up. Let's go at a even higher sharpness. 200% sharpness. No, it didn't, Jeff. Wow. Okay. Have to do a search. Very, very impressive. Okay, what's sharpness right now? I just pushed it up to 250? 200. I'm at 200 sharpness now. Yes, it does. I'll have to say this is the best I've ever seen the Crab Nebula. By far. Now that I started cleaning out my garage, storage room, workshop, whatever you want to call it, I'll have a place to put the 17.5. So hopefully I'll have the 17.5. By sky conditions, I can get my sky quality meter out and give you a sky quality reading if you want. Transparency, I'm a bad judge of that. I just got my sky quality meter out. Let me go take a quick reading. I don't know what 20.12 converts to into limiting magnitude. It's 20.12 is the sky quality. Probably close to middling. Let's move on to something else.
Telescope slew into target. Telescope slew complete.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Flaming Star Nebula. Let's do a white balance. This is the Flaming Star Nebula in Auriga. So now let me bump up the exposure time. I'm going to stop the 20-second and let me go to something long like we were doing for galaxies before. Let me go to 45. What the heck? I mean, there's a lot of nebulosity in there already. I got 49 minutes on this recording. I recorded about an hour and 10 minutes before. Okay, time to push up the white, the black white. Okay, let's see what happens with that tweak. There's some blues around the top, around the star, and then reds at the bottom. Okay, now maybe I'll lower the sharpness to about 100. And start average stacking. There's definitely some blue around this bright star, but then there's reds in the outlying regions. Okay, now we got 2 in the stack. Okay, now it's looking better. Yeah, that's starting to look pretty nice. I had this filter for a long time, and I just finally started using it. Go outside for a sec. Where's Simon? The transparency is not that good out there. I just went out and looked, and it is not that great. I just like the contrast between the blues and the reds. I think that's pretty cool. Oh, probably at default, Simon. Let's see. Yeah, gamma's at 1.2, contrast is at 0. This is pretty nice. I think this is the best I've ever seen this object. Especially when you consider that it's not really that transparent out there tonight. The other nebula that's near, they call it the tadpole. Is it the tadpole? IC 410? What is IC 410? Was that the tadpole? Let me get a DSS image.
Operation completed.
Yeah, it's right next door to this one. I'm going to go to that next. They're both in Auriga. Man, I might have to run to the house to get another cup of coffee. Oh, hi, Michael. Didn't see you join. Some of the features in here reminds me of stuff in the, is it the Trifid? There's this little bulge. And again, the blue and the red, the contrast in the colors. I remember, I think there's also a blue and red contrast in the Cone Nebula. Let's see, we're now at 10 in, 9 out. Yeah, 45-second exposure. And the gain is at 80 out of 160. I don't know what the light loss is through that filter. I'm going to try bumping up the sharpness while we're, because I'm at sharpness 100 now. I'm going to go to sharpness about 200. See what happens. I'm going to raise the gamma a little bit, 1.25. That is pretty. I'm going to add a couple more to the stack, and then I'm going to go over to IC410, which is relatively close. Let's see how far away it is according to Sky Tools. Get the angular measurements. Less than 2 degrees away. Okay, let's go to IC410. Okay.
Telescope slewing to target.
Like I said, it's close. Let's see.
Telescope slew complete.
And just move the dome a little bit. Okay. Okay. IC410 is, what do they call it? IC410. IC410. It's called the Tadpole Nebula. Okay. Okay, so let's start average stacking. And I'll put the name in. Nebula. I am using the Orion Skyglow imaging filter. Let me get the box. Okay. That's currently what I'm using. Well, the gain is 80 out of 160. I normally use gain 40. I generally don't use max gain with this camera, but do you have any suggestions for me to try? Like gain 160 and what exposure time? I think it does. We can try it. Let's see, I'm going to stop it. Max gain 160. And I'm going to change the exposure from 45. Let's go to, say, 25. And the sharpness is, now I'm going to lower the sharpness down to 100. So I'm at sharpness 100, exposure I went down to 25 seconds, but I have gain to the max. I'm going to erase the name of the filter. Oh, And I definitely got to change the histogram. So now I'm at max gain. Exposure is 25 seconds. I mean, it's smoothing out nicely. I may want to go at a little bit longer exposure. Okay, let me stop this. I'm going to go to 30-second loop. Yeah, I have it set for 0 degrees centigrade. That's what Rock recommends. He recommends not going much colder than that. I just bumped up the, and then let me do the averaging. Oh man, my feet. Okay. So I'm at 30 seconds now at max gain. It's thinking about advancing to the next frame. Take that. Boy, got pretty. Why did it get so dark? And I think I lowered the sharpness to 100, right? Yes. It's averaging out nicely, smoothing out. Yeah, this is 4 in, 3 out. So. Yep, I agree, Simon. Okay, we're at an hour and 15 minutes almost into this recording.